Tech It Up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Kuckein, who is the Senior Director of Marketing from DDN. Kurt, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about this exciting news that you are making one more acquisition.
Yeah, so DDN has been in a slow growth mode for many years, but the last 2 years we've been really focusing on growing ourselves and our business into new markets. Last year we acquired Tintri.
Right.
So moving from what's traditionally been DDN's focus market, which has been entirely focused on really that huge scale HPC market where performance and capacity were the things that ruled. And now moving into enterprise markets, like with the acquisition of Tintri, focused on virtualization. And so we saw a space in between those two markets that now provides us a space and accessibility from an acquisition of Nexenta.
Okay, and they specialize in the management of the storage data?
So Nexenta is a software-defined storage layer. So they offer basically storage services. So they are a NAS provider, object storage, and it is both on-prem as well as in the cloud. And so you can get that multi-storage dimension integrated into a single solution that very nicely complements our on-prem solutions with DDN. DDN is also focusing on data mobility into the cloud too. We just released our Exascaler product on Google Cloud, so providing the most performance storage on cloud, and then also with Tintri managing the virtualization environment. We now think we have a storage portfolio that's really going to be optimized for what we see as the next wave of technologies coming out. You know, the 5Gs, really powerful IoT devices collecting, terabytes and petabytes of data, as well as then virtualized environments and artificial intelligence.
Okay. Now, you have to do the marketing part and the customer success. So let's talk about marketing.
Sure.
You've got more responsibility now with a larger portfolio. How does that challenge you in terms of the acquisition of customers?
So in terms of going after customers, DDN, as I said, was a slow growth. We've been around for 20 years, and we've been focused on a fairly narrow market niche. And so with that, what we found was our best vehicle in kind of customer acquisition was really in-depth conversations. So we had to really engage the customers at a deep level. So things like your traditional online advertising just don't cut it, right? You don't get a ton of people coming to our website because they saw a DDN banner on some website.
So you need that face-to-face.
So you need face-to-face or at least in-depth engagement. So we do a lot of thought leadership. So articles out there, contributed pieces, speaking at events, and then trade shows are our number one vehicle towards new customer acquisition. Because again, getting folks into our booth, really being able to demonstrate our value to them is important. And so it's transforming, though, right? First step was this acquisition of Tintri, a more enterprise-focused company. Again, a unique approach to solving a data problem. And so it does take, again, some time to explain that. But to be able to attract those customers, we do have to cast a wider net. So it is something new for us in terms of going out to look at new vehicles, to appealing to the market. And now with this acquisition of Nexenta, it just emphasizes that. Again, here are pieces of equipment that or solutions that compete with your enterprise storage vendors, your NetApps and your EMC and IBMs, right, in the enterprise space.
Right, so you get big competitors.
We do. We have big competitors, and it's often difficult to cut through the noise there without just contributing to the noise. But we think in all three cases, we have a really differentiated message to tell.
Okay. So you might be using digital marketing then.
For sure. I think there's no doubt that we're going to grow our digital marketing footprint. What's interesting in our approach to integrating these companies, right, is that we don't try and immediately cast a big net. You can see, Tintri became Tintri by DDN. Same thing, we're going to follow that same model. Nexenta is going to become Nexenta by DDN, and allow them as an organization to do what they do best, while leveraging what DDN does best as well as kind of an overarching company, which is run a profitable business, run at the right size of an organization for the growth that we foresee for the next 18, 24 months. And so a lot of other companies, especially in the area we live, right, are challenged by hypergrowth, right? So they have investors who want to see a quick return on investment, whereas we have two owner-founders who have grown this company over 20 years to, as a standalone business, $300 million a year, always profitable, always growing slowly, versus, this challenge of, okay, within 18 months, I want to have an exit strategy to be able to get out. I have to go into hypergrowth. I have to spend a lot of money to acquire
and that could
customers.
be the downfall.
That can often be your downfall, right? And when we do postmortem on an acquisition like Tintri, that's exactly what we see there, right? I mean, great technology, great customers, great engineering and roadmap going forward with customers excited about it. How does a company like that fail? It just doesn't have the right size investment for their growth and their growth opportunity. And so we're able to match that a lot better. And you'll see it already, where Tintri is now in the black, contributing cash to our organization while we grow it again.
Very good. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about customer success.
Sure.
Because that's an area that is gaining so much prominence, I think, in the organization because of the subscription economy. And with Nexenta, I think you're going to have to look at how you do customer success.
Yeah, for sure. And that's going to be, so one thing that DDN does is we learn very quickly. We are, despite being a 20-year-old company, we still retain that original startup mentality. And so constantly learning about new opportunities, new markets, especially as they emerge really quickly. So, or even over time. So, take something like artificial intelligence, something that we've been working on for 10, 15 years because we've been involved with the really big labs and research universities and things like that. We've been able to anticipate that a little bit, and we have architectures now that serve that really well. That's on the technology side, but we do the same on the marketing side and the customer side, right? Really learning quickly from things that we do and things that go well, and then things that don't. So kind of that move fast, but make sure you're tracking and using data to really understand if something's successful or not. And so I think we'll go the same direction on on the customer success side. DDN by its nature is very customer centric, sometimes almost to a fault. We're very consultative. We spend a lot of time investing in understanding our customers' applications, whereas maybe some other storage vendors really are focused on, okay, I deliver the storage, and then the whole rest of the environment is what it is. We, troubleshoot the storage, the network, the application, the compute, all of that we view kind of holistically to be able to delight our customers. And we'll need to take a similar approach when it comes to something like the software-defined data services that Nexenta offers, and really, encourage them to get customers to continue to invest and expand their footprint.
Right. And then you probably gain a lot of customer loyalty because you provide so much assistance. We do,
and that's another thing that we look at in evaluating acquisitions as well. And whereas even on the DDN side, we deal with customers who are often using DDN as their differentiation, say in the financial services side, or with some of the AI startups, where they don't necessarily want to talk about DDN because it is, because we're accelerating their ability to analyze and ingest and take action on data very, very quickly. They don't necessarily want the competitor to know what they're doing.
Right.
And we found it very eye-opening when we acquired Tintri about how excited their customer base was even advocating for the product itself, because they were so enamored with this technology and that it was solving so many of their problems in their virtual environments. They were willing to turn around and tell all of their friends. So it's a little less constraining, I think, in the enterprise space versus, our big data space that we came out of with DDN. So we're hoping and talking to a lot of the Nexenta customers during due diligence, finding out that they're similarly oriented, that here's a customer base that's super stoked on the technology that they have and what they're doing with it, and they want to see it continue. And they're big advocates for that as well.
Excellent. Well, what is the exciting journey for you over the next 2 years then?
So the next 2 years, it looks much the same. We aren't necessarily done in terms of filling out the DDN portfolio. And so we've really created a model where Data Direct Networks is basically this holding company that spans a number of different markets. And so we have DDN Storage, who continues to focus on data at scale, data management, artificial intelligence use cases, as well as the HPC space. Then we've got Nexenta slotted in, doing your traditional NAS and object storage and data services type work, but in an open way, right? So not constrained with specific hardware platform, software defined. And then finally, Tintri really focused on that virtualization space. So we'll continue to look at strategic acquisitions that just help us fill out that portfolio with an eye towards continuously making sure that we're focused on certain spaces, right? So for us, we really see the opportunity in 5G, IoT, and AI. These are folks who are going to have challenges with data collection, data management, understanding which data is important. If you look at some of the reports out there, they're saying, 3% of the overall data that we've all collected is being analyzed, right? And so we want to help organizations be able to identify what is the key percentage, right? Should it be more like 40%? And which 40% of data needs to be extracted and analyzed to generate new value for them and be able to create new revenue paths?
Okay. Well, that sounds really an exciting journey there. There's a lot to do.
There is always a lot to do.
On marketing and customer success.
For sure.
Yeah, and you're servicing the SMB and the enterprise, like the entire...
Yeah, so that's been also a learning experience for DDN, and DDN is a learning environment. How we go after different spaces, different routes to market, right? Historically, DDN's been very direct sales focused, again, because of that technical sale, because of the involvement that we need. And we have strong partners in folks like HPE and Dell EMC that help us with our routes to market. But again, very tight involvement of our reps with deals. But Tintri was coming from the other direction. Very channel focused. Everything's run through the channel. The channel owns the customer relationship. Our sales reps are very involved with the channel and making sure the channel partners have what they need. And so as DDN moves into enterprise environments with the AI opportunity there, we're having to build our channel expertise, as well as kind of bringing some of our direct sales knowledge to Tintri, right? And that's an interesting thing that you see.
Take the best of both worlds.
Exactly. You see in Tintri's first quarter here of 2019, we had, I think, $6 or $7 million plus deals for Tintri, which is brand new for them, right?
Because of the technical consultancy.
The technical and just strategic direction that we want to go find large customers who need big volumes of data. And while the run rate business still continues to be very core to our long-term success, and fulfilling that through the channel, right? The ASP for a Tintry box is much smaller than your average deal size for, the typical DDN implementation. But, taking the successes from both worlds and learning from both, it's been really great to see how we expand both business opportunities.
Okay, wonderful. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, Kurt, to share the news. Very exciting for you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think awesome times at DDN, and we're really stoked about being able to spread the news.
Mm-hmm. So thank you. And thanks to the audience for watching. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Kuckein from DDN.